Gareth Southgate has officially announced his England squad for the European Championships of 2024 to be held in Germany. Hey guys, welcome to your channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, it is the moment that England fans have been waiting for. It is the official announcement of the England team to take on the European Championships this summer. All day long we've been hearing little bits and pieces of news as to who's made it and who hasn't made it into the final squad that Gareth Southgate will pick to take with him into battle in Germany. Probably not the best choice of words to use, but you know what I mean. It's the European Championships that are officially fast approaching. They are right around the corner, and today Gareth Southgate has officially named his England squad, leaving with obviously the difficult decisions of leaving out some big names in that squad. But regardless, I think England should have enough about them to win this competition, and I'll explain more going forward. But before we go any further and talking about the squad, talking about England's chances and everything else in between, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always incredibly greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great and interesting reading, I'm sure, down below. Please do get involved. Would love to hear from you all and what you think about the England squad. The ones that are being cut, England's chances in the Euros and everything else in between. Would love to hear from you all on that. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's talk England's squad for the 2024 European Championships in Germany. It's an interesting squad. It is a squad that, in my opinion, should have enough about them to go on and win the championship regardless. Anything but a triumph in this competition is utter failure, in my opinion. Regardless of the round, regardless of the circumstances, if England do not win this competition this year, it's an utter failure. And I think, personally, the only way we're going to lose it is if Southgate himself messes this up. Because I've been saying for a long, long time now, Southgate is not the manager for England. He's not a good enough manager for England. And I personally feel like if he doesn't win this competition, it's just fully wasting a golden opportunity. Because when you look at it on paper, we have one of the best squads, not just in Europe, but one of the best squads in the world. One of the biggest, deepest national pools of talent, quality, and even potential in the world. We have such a good national pool of players, but they can't flourish, and they're being restricted because of the footballing tactics of one Gareth Southgate. Now, that isn't to say he can't win this competition. I don't necessarily think Didier Deschamps of France is that good of a manager. I think his way of football isn't exactly the best, and I think that he's been bailed out a fair few times by having an incredible pool of talent himself with the French national squad. But the difference is that he's at least got a World Cup under his belt. They are probably one of the favourites as well. Probably the second favourite actually behind England to go on and win this competition. And guess what? If things go as according to plan as we think they will, England and France will both meet in the quarterfinal stages. That could be huge. That is going to be huge. That could be telling right there about who's going to win the tournament right from that game alone, should, like I say, things go according to plan. And of course, both of those teams follow the requirements needed to obviously get that far and to meet each other in that particular game. It's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. And like I say, for England, it's success or complete failure. It is winning the entire competition or failing miserably. And a large part of that failure will come down on the shoulders of Gareth Southgate, who will have to leave his position as England manager. It should have happened after the World Cup a couple of years ago. It definitely should happen this summer, should he lose. I think he also should leave whether he wins or not, but if he wins, he's probably going to stay on for another lifetime. But that's neither here nor there until, of course, we come to that bridge and, well, of course, we cross it, if we cross it. The England squad that was announced today, some of it was predictable. A couple of it was a bit and ahhing, a bit of maybe not, maybe he could make it, maybe he couldn't, and I think maybe one was down to basically just injury. In goal, Dean Henderson keeps his position alongside Jordan Pickford and Aaron Ramsdale. Now, we know obviously Southgate loves Pickford, so we can automatically assume that he's going to be the starting goalkeeper. Ramsdale will be second, and then it was going to be between Dean Henderson and James Trafford as to who was going to make the third choice. Realistically, the third choice is only going to be there as a third choice, as an emergency backup. It's unlikely Dean Henderson is going to get any minutes whatsoever, unfortunately for him. He's there just to take up a bit of a space. Dean Henderson was always going to win out over James Trafford, unfortunately, for Trafford. So Trafford is the first casualty of the cuts. In defence, we've got Lewis Dunk, Joe Gomez, Mark Guehi, Ezri Konsa, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker, which means Jared Braithwaite, Harry Maguire and Jarell Quansah are out of the squad. Now, we heard Quansah's name be mentioned very much earlier on in the day that he was going to be cut, and I think that was one of the more predictable. I think that would be one of the more predictable ones, to be fair, to have called out right off the bat. Braithwaite, he could have gone in. I'm a bit surprised that he's managed to stick faith with Lewis Dunk, in all honesty. I don't think Dunk's had the best of seasons, and I think it's maybe a bit harsh on Braithwaite. But given maybe Braithwaite's age, it won't be too hard done on him. He can obviously get into... He'll probably be... If he continues his rise like he has been doing over the past year or so, he will definitely be in the World Cup squad. If we make it. And then Harry Maguire. Maguire is a bit of an unfortunate one because, of course, he is injured. He definitely would have made it, obviously, had he not been injured. But it does seem like he's lost his race against time to be fit for that. So, unfortunately for the Manchester United defender, it seems his Euros dreams are over. In the midfield, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, Conor Gallagher, Kobbie Mainoo, Declan Rice and Adam Wharton. No room for Curtis Jones. Now, the interesting part here is obviously Kobbie Mainoo. What a rise he has been, and obviously he was going to... I think there would have been massive uproar if he hadn't been in it. Same with Adam Wharton of Crystal Palace, of course. What a rise he has had. Maybe not has had the fanfare and the attention that maybe Kobbie Mainoo has had, but he's been brilliant for Crystal Palace, especially towards the end of the season just gone. Trent Alexander-Arnold obviously moving into midfield is going to be very interesting. You would imagine that if you were the manager playing Trent Alexander-Arnold in midfield, Southgate obviously has this obsession with playing him in midfield, but if you were to do that, you'd probably do it against opposition that are going to sit 10 men behind the ball. They're going to allow him time on the ball, and he's got to obviously come up with something a little bit different, a little bit special to, of course, try and break what should be a very stubborn and very well-disciplined back line. That is where I would play Alexander-Arnold if I was forced to play him in midfield. He's still a bit green, rough around the edges in midfield. It's not his natural position, obviously. So I would obviously say keep him at right back. But of course, Southgate seems to have this weird obsession of playing him in midfield. It's just going to be about whether he plays him in midfield in the right moments, at the right time. If you've got a team that's going to allow time on the ball in midfield to those England players, if you've got a team that is going to be stubborn defensively, is going to sit well-disciplined, well-structured, Trent's your guy to try and unlock that defence. If you've got someone that's going to be physical in midfield, that's going to try and, exploit weaknesses in the back line, that's going to try and obviously exploit maybe or press very, very quickly, Trent may not be your guy for midfield. But, the physicality side of things aside, it's going to be about whether or not Southgate deploys Trent in that position correctly and in the correct games at the correct times. It's a big gamble, but it's one that certainly can pay off. The midfield casualty in this scenario is Curtis Jones. I think if he hadn't have had that injury that ruled him out for a large part of the second half of the season, I think he may have got in. And it may have been the likes of Conor Gallagher or even Adam Wharton that may have been cut from the squad. It's unfortunate for him, but I think his injury may have just cost him at the wrong time. Unfortunate, he gives you a lot from midfield, but at the same time, I can somewhat understand why he has been cut. And then that leaves us the forward options. Jude Bellingham as a forward, Jared Bowen, Eze makes it, Phil Foden obviously, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Cole Palmer, Bukayo Saka, Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins. Meaning James Maddison, we knew about James Maddison, I believe, late last night, that he wasn't going to make it into the squad. We knew that early about the Tottenham playmaker. And Jack Grealish miss out on the squad. Harsh on them too, but again, it had to be done. It's unfortunate because a couple of years ago, of course, that was Jack Grealish all over. Jack Grealish in the Euros of 2021 and then obviously into 2022 was England's main guy, it seemed. He was the guy that was highly raved about, talked about a lot. Obviously made his big money move to Manchester City. His playmaking ability and his creativity were obviously high on the agenda of England. And then obviously this past season or two, it's not quite worked out at City. He's had a fair few injuries. He hasn't quite picked up the form that he showed at Aston Villa. It's unfortunate because he does offer you something that the other players simply don't. It is going to be interesting to see the lineup for the forward three. Bellingham, you would imagine, can obviously be versatile enough to play in either the midfield area or be a box-to-box player, or he could play as the number 10. On the right, you would imagine it's going to be Bukayo Saka because of tried and tested. But, I think Cole Palmer deserves a shout on that side, or maybe through the middle. I'm not necessarily sure if he's better through the middle or on the right, or whether you just give him a bit of a free roll. Either way, Cole Palmer is hotly contesting that kind of position against Bukayo Saka, who I imagine will be limping a lot during the end of of some of these England games. Harry Kane obviously starts up front. Anthony Gordon on the left, certainly. Phil Foden then through the middle because that's where his best position is, and then obviously it's an interesting selection headache to have because I think for balance you would have to go Anthony Gordon on the left, Bukayo Saka on the right, Kane through the middle, and Phil Foden as the number 10, right? And then with Rice and Bellingham as the two midfielders. That's what I personally would go for because Foden is so much better through the middle when he's got that free roll to drift wherever he wants to drift and go wherever he wants to go. Eze making it, it's going to be very interesting to see how many minutes he gets. Bowen, of course, on the outskirts as well. That's going to be an interesting addition. And then, obviously, Toney and Watkins will be waiting in the wings to pounce, just in case Harry Kane is having a bit of an off day, although it is Southgate. So if Kane is having a bit of an off day, and even though Kane is obviously going into this Euros, not exactly match fit. I mean, he obviously did pick up an injury towards the end of last season, and so it's going to be interesting to see how fit Kane really is in going into the Euros. Obviously, we have capable we have capable stand-ins, shall we say, in Ollie Watkins and Ivan Toney, who have had, well, Watkins especially has had a phenomenal season with Aston Villa, both individually and as a team. And Ivan Toney, of course, we know a lot about Toney. We know a lot about what he brings to the table. And it's going to be very interesting to see how he features as well. Congratulations to the likes of Eze, Gordon, obviously Joe Gomez, Mark Gahey, Konza, all making it into the side along with like Kobe Mainu, Adam Wharton. There's a lot of fresh blood in there, which I'm actually quite surprised in Southgate for. And I will take my hat off if I had a hat on right now to Southgate for doing that. Obviously, one of the big talking points when the provisional side came out was that there was no Jordan Henderson. I was pretty sure he was going to be a shoo-in to be one of the first names on that squad list. I was wrong. I didn't think Henderson could do anything wrong in Southgate's eyes, but I have been proven wrong. like I say, I applaud Southgate for bringing in some fresh blood, some new blood. And to be fair, the ones that he has cut, I can understand why he has cut them to a certain extent. I just think that it's understandable as to why that is the case. My only concern would be how are you playing this now? Obviously, we know who's going to be the goalkeeper. You would imagine it's going to be Kyle Walker on the right. It's going to be John Stones in the centre. It's going to be interesting now to see who partners John Stones with no Harry Maguire. It's going to that one is going to be interesting. That one's going to be interesting to see who he partners. Will it be Mark Guehi for some sort of balance? Will it be Gomez, who's had a brilliant season with Liverpool, although maybe Gomez's versatility will be used elsewhere? How fit is Luke Shaw as well? We know he's one of the more natural left backs that we have, but obviously he missed a large part of the second half of the season. Will obviously Gomez be used on that left-hand side? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does with that now that obviously Harry Maguire is not going to be there. In the midfield, like I say, I personally would have Declan Rice starting alongside Jude Bellingham as a bit of a pivot. Then you've got Bukayo Saka or Cole Palmer on the right. Personally, I'd go with Palmer, just purely based on form. But, you know, Saka, if he's in the right mood, Saka obviously is not a bad shout either. Foden through the middle, Gordon on the left just purely for balance, and then Harry Kane starting up front. It would obviously be harsh on the others, but that is personally how I would set up 4-2-3-1 and attack. But this is Gareth Southgate, so it probably would be 4-2-3-1 and play pragmatic, or it's going to be 4-3-3 with, you know, Declan Rice alongside Mainu or something. And I'm not saying Mainu's a bad player, but, you know, a bit more attacking minded wouldn't go amiss, Gareth. Just saying. Being a bit more attacking minded wouldn't go amiss. Personally, I would play Alexander Arnold right back over Kyle Walker, but that's just me. That's my preference. You can say it's a little bit of bias in there being a Liverpool fan, but I personally think that he's better from the right than he is in midfield. If he's allowed time on the ball as well, out on the wing, he can just spray passes across the pitch. And his long diagonals are absolutely amazing. You're not going to get that from Kyle Walker. You'll get recovery pace from Kyle Walker, and that's about it. Recovery pace. That's all you get from Kyle Walker. If Trent Alexander-Arnold had Kyle Walker's pace, he'd be the complete right back. I'm just saying. But there you have it. Like I say, England's chances, looking at that squad, they should be winning it. There's no doubt in my mind they should be winning it. But the only thing that is going to stop them is the manager, Gareth Southgate. He very well could make it all the way to the final, and he very well could go on and win it. He very well could. And what a summer that would be for England fans. It would be a lovely summer to have. Of course it would. I just have a feeling he's going to mess this up somewhere along the way. I just have a feeling that when the big teams come in, whether it be a France or if a Spain, a dark horse like a Spain, or maybe even an Italy again, if we get them at some stage during the knockouts, I just feel like he's going to mess this up again. Because he's just not that convincing, and his style of football isn't exactly the most entertaining. But there you have it. That is what we have been waiting for all day. That is the England squad to take on the Euros this summer. What do you make of it? These are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of everything that we talked about in this video? What do you make of the England squad? Gareth Southgate, England's chances of winning the Euros. What do you make of it all? Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it down below in the comment section. Sure, it'll make it interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up and enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I will see you and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. Speak to you all again very, very soon.